Thanks for staying with us. So the House of Reps Committee on Basic Examination Bodies has pledged to support the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, in resolving the challenges affecting the smooth conduct of the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination called UTME. This year's conduct has been marred by a series of complaints and unfortunate incidents. One of this, on this segment, we will review the issues and the irregularities Nigerians have been complaining about. Please, if you have experienced it, or if you have your child who tried to write the UTME, write JAMB, and they're having issues, please call the numbers on the screen. We'd like to hear, share with you the experience that your child had, so that we can obviously ensure the authorities do something about it. You can call us on 020-163-52013, 090-241-63440. You can also send us messages on X and also on YouTube. We'll be happy to read your messages. So this last results, many people have complained, especially the students that tried to write the exams. Some have complained about missing questions. Some the diagram. Others said that there was incorrect answers. You know, there's quite a lot of issues, and I'm happy that the House of Reps is trying to look into it. But let me ask you of your own thoughts on this, and if you've experienced it before or you heard about it, and how do you think we can begin to resolve this permanently? Because children cannot keep being faced with these kinds of errors doing an examination. This is an important examination to get to the next level in their lives.
I don't think anybody can get into university in Nigeria without writing these exams.
Yeah.
And this is not a new examination process. So obviously, I was shocked and not shocked, because I felt like we should have gotten over some of these things. One major complaint people had was with the timing of the exams. The information about how early people had to show up for the exams, considering that most of those writing these exams are children. They might be adult-ish, but majority of them are like between 18, 19, 20, and they're expected to be at the examination or by 6:30 in the morning.
But JAMB has responded. Let me just say we're on the same page, because I saw a message from JAMB. In fact, I was replying the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, saying that, Your Excellency, I must have said that our examination is scheduled to commence at 8 a.m., not 6 a.m., while verification and other clearance processes begins at 6:30. It is imperative that candidates are afforded adequate time to settle in. So it's
if you are starting at 6:30,
for accreditation. Yeah.
So one, the timing is challenging for many people. Two is the fact that I am surprised. The one that surprised me was that people were complaining of missing information within the question examination of the question examination itself. I remember when I did JAMB, we had that same issue. There were questions that the leader found out that the answer wasn't even in the options or things like that. Like I'm talking over 20 years ago, and we're having issues. No. I like the idea that the House of Assembly is saying representatives saying we're going to support them. We don't want support. Let there be penalties. Let there be consequences for the failings that happened currently. And then we can then discuss how do we adequately improve this. Because you cannot be an examination body that is evaluating people before going to university and you are unable to conduct it efficiently. It doesn't speak of excellence. It doesn't show like you have the capacity to certify me to go into university. So I think that there should be consequences for those who dropped the ball on this exam. It has nothing to do with the accidents. My heart goes out to all of those that, the children that lost their lives in the accidents, those that were involved in the accidents. I was traveling to Abeokuta very early on Saturday morning, and the road, like there were just so many children on the road. And one man was having to coordinate the traffic process by himself. And I felt, shouldn't there have been a process to ensure that there are traffic people? I'm saying police officers, local law enforcement agents at every point where we are going to be having this thing take place. Or the schools would have security operatives, because the people I saw at the 2 points within Abeokuta that were coordinating the road were individuals that were trying to ensure that no accident took place, because it was an express road. So there are many things that did not go right. That looks like there wasn't proper project management of this scale. At this point in time, we should not be having this teething problem. Okay. So consequences should be meted out to those that dropped the ball on this.
Nima?
I wanted to start from the accident. And the reason why is that there were just too many children traveling across states. across long distances to write JAMB exams. And I think that is not right. I think I think that is
outdated.
It's so outdated. I mean, we have complained about adults, you know, who are working and they have to go and write exams in different promotion exams in different states. That is even, that situation alone is bothersome. Then you now talk of children and then you expect them that they should be there, you know, really early. It makes no sense. In this world of that is so digitalized with all the resources that we have, why can't we just step into the times and use them, especially to benefit our children and protect them? It's so unfair, you know, that children, the lives that were lost just because they had to go and write, you know, exams. It was unnecessary. That was an unnecessary. Those were unnecessary deaths that happened. There was a story of a young girl too who had set out, and her family were looking for her. They couldn't find her. It seemed like eventually they found her. I think a day or so after. It looked like either she had been kidnapped or she lost her way. You know, there's some things that just don't make sense. Most of these students are in school. They can write them in their schools. They have just make sure that there are more exam centers. You have AI technology that's able to track, you know, all these things. You don't need human presence in a lot of these places. Use this technology, please, to protect the lives of our students. Everybody talks about, so that's on the one side. The second one is, you know, what Tokwe has highlighted, exam questions, diagrams not showing. I remember during our time, there were occasions where there will be mistakes, because at that time, even the technology wasn't, a lot of things was handwritten, you know, people had to sit down and come up. So you would make, you make room for human error. But it's been so long, there's been so much time, so much technological advancement, it makes no sense. It just means to me that there are a group of people who are meant to be in charge of making sure that this is done right, who haven't done their job. Because it just takes somebody or a group of people to sit down to see what is about to be sent out and realize that some things are not correct.
Yeah.
Some people are just collecting salary, being employed, doing nothing, and collecting salary at the end of the month. I believe that those people have to be made to, you know, pay for this in some way.
Right.
You have Nigerian students who are constantly, you know, trying hard. Parents especially, you know, the children are working hard, wanting to make sure that they, you know, get their proper, they get their right scores. They are studying hard. The parents are putting money together. We always hear of parents when they are complaining of trying to raise money for their children to write these exams, and yet we fail them at this point. We can do better. The government can do better. And please, let's not let this continue to happen.
Okay. Under Professor Loye, the JAMB has greatly improved. We wrote our JAMB physically using pencil and shading papers, and then they improved to prevent malpractices by doing the type 1, type ABCD, where they swap all the types and questions rearrangement under the year. That was, I think, the last JAMB I wrote was the one where the types were being shifted. So
to prevent cheating.
To prevent cheating.
Yeah.
So you're sitting next to me. We all have the same question papers, but we actually don't have the same. So my number 9 is your number 100, and you would never be able to find out because the time for the exam runs fast. And so a lot of improvement has happened under the current administration of JAMB, where we saw the CBT being introduced. And of course, because it's a new innovation, adjusting to it was tough. Nigerians tried to bypass it, issues will come up here and there. Centers had to be built, which is what led to people traveling distances for JAMB. So CBT centers, that's the computer-based test centers, are not many. There are even many now. When they started initially, people used to still opt for the other physical papers as opposed to the computer-based test. Eventually, they moved into full CBT exams for every JAMB. And yet they still do not have enough centers. My cousin called me, said she was lost in Festac trying to find her center, and I even misled her. I led her all the way by using Google Map to Mushi for the same name before we found. She insisted that they had written, JAMB had said her center was in Festac, and we found out later it was in Festac. She went a day before to confirm her center because she knows how the exam will go. When Zainab wrote her exams, when my daughter was a baby at JAMB center, was in Ijebu-Ode. So we had gone a day before to Ijebu to find out where the CB center was. Now. No, it has stopped. I'm saying then, Gufran is 12. When she was a baby, the girl that was helping me with her had to travel to Ijebu. So we went a day before. We had sent a family member to go with her, an adult to go with her to find the center a day before, and we did not leave her in Ijebu. In fact, the night before, they traveled for the exam, and they stayed somewhere in Ijebu there for the exams to be done. So yes, because we are moving into a new phase, there are going to be, things, will be a cost to this improvement we are trying to do. To achieve it will not just be because it involves money. Initially, there were voluntary CBT centers. Now they found out that some CBT centers, I think the interview from the JAMB head recently came out exposing universities, exposing some centers as to, compromising, defrauding students and all of that. So it's an ongoing process. I'm just talking about this travel.
It just seems to
the
be
only thing I can see in and everything I see is Nigerian. Is
Nigerian, yes.
That the Nigerian people, what we're doing, because how do we fix this problem?
Morayo, let me explain something. When I wrote GC in 1998, when you buy your form, anywhere you buy your form, that's how the posting was done. So my dad worked via Victoria Island, and he went to buy our forms in Victoria Island. Proxy to Victoria Island is Lagos Island. Now where they post us for GCB that. We were living in Iba. We had to come every day for our 9 papers on the island.
Okay, why?
So that was how it was done. I'm just talking about improvement. So you were supposed to buy your form in your locality.
But now you do online now. You put your address. They should give you.
And then we have improved.
Okay, too.
We are saying that with improvement comes costs. Parents must also make provision. If my child has been posted to a center, I will find out that center before exams. I will make provisions for my child to write the exam beforehand. I will not go and write the exam the next morning and fall into any situation. I'm not saying that excusing JAMB's inadequacies. I'm saying, what about the role of us as citizens? What are we going to do? Because we just want to excuse.
I'm going to short. When we come back, we continue with this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.